Today I'm going to talk about my awakening thus far. I don't know if it's for people or just to document my progress simply for myself. Today at the time of this video, I'm 56 years old, and back in about 2011, 12, 13, somewhere in my early 40s, I uh I was at the height of my computer engineering career, making six figures, and growing up, through videos and stuff like that, everybody tries to push this six-figure number. So it's something like as if something miraculous is going to happen once I reach six figures. So, but anyway, that's what I did. I achieved it, and then once I got there was nothing there. And at that moment, I knew something was missing, right? But I didn't know what was missing, and so I turned to God and I asked God, "What am I missing?" God answered me by helping me understand that I lived in a perspective of capitalism in the United States of America, and what makes capitalism is actually an illusion, and what makes it an illusion is that everybody's perspective of capitalism is different. That's what makes it an illusion. And I figured out I was born in a perspective of capitalism, which I call the debt matrix. And so what I realized is that capitalism was, and everybody knows through history, capitalism was built on physical slavery. That's the foundation. And since that is the foundation, that means it cannot change. The whole system would have to be destroyed and rebuilt in order to change the fact that it was built on slavery. So what has simply has happened is that it has changed from physical to invisible. So God led me to my credit report, which were actually my debt slave papers. My credit report was nothing more than my papers that for the businesses that all owned me. They had every business that I owned on my credit report, they were my owners. And until I paid them back, that's the only way I was going to be free. So my credit report kept track of all the businesses that owned me, and my credit score was nothing more than reward points for staying in debt with the owners listed on my credit report. Once I paid off all my debt, that allowed me to exit the perspective of the debt matrix. Now, the difficult part of it all, now that I'm out, the difficult part about being inside the debt matrix is that I had to know I was in a perspective of capitalism. I had to know that first, which is very difficult. And since I escaped by paying off all my debt, this is the only way I knew that I was in a perspective of capitalism, by escaping. Now that I understand that capitalism is still based on slaves, it doesn't matter what color a person is. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're Chinese, black, white. Anybody in debt is a slave. Period. It took me 10 years to get to the point to where I'm at now, because I first escaped in 2000. Well, not escaped. I paid off my debt in 2015. I quit my job in 2016, and that's when things really started to accelerate. And mind you, back then I still didn't know capitalism was a perspective of. I mean, excuse me, that capitalism was, I'm trying to put this in words the best way I can because it's something that you cannot see. It just is. Like, put it this way, I now understand that the majority of people here in the United States is slaves. We're slaves. We own nothing, never have. The majority never will, and never know it. Most will die never knowing that they were slaves. That money is an illusion for the majority. It doesn't even, and and the wonderful thing about this and God and spirit and the thing that joins the spiritual world and the physical world is mathematics. That's the joining piece. This is something I had to learn. That's the joining piece. And what do I mean? So if you come across this and you hear me say money is an illusion, I'm gonna show you how math joins these two worlds, the one you can see and the one you cannot. So if you hold $20 in your hand, it doesn't really matter about amount of money, but most people have $20. That's why I always use it. Hold a $20 bill in your hand and open up the calculator app with the other and put in $20 minus your car payment. According to the calculator, you don't have $20 in your hand. You just believe you do. And that's part of how the system works. Now, this type of information must come slowly, because if it came too fast, your mind might not be able to handle it. It might not be able to handle what the reality really is, because math does not lie. So if you use what I just showed you, that means you cannot save for retirement. You cannot buy a home with a mortgage. You can't save money on taxes. You can't put money into your 401k. You can't do any of that. Then the majority do not know. To to accept that, to accept what I'm telling you, will take a strong mind. And if you are in a relationship and you hear this and one of you guys hear it and understand it and one of you guys don't, that relationship is probably going to end. Now, what I didn't know is that freeing myself physically was just the first part of my awakening process. Because once I escaped the debt matrix perspective of capitalism, I realized there's an unlimited amount of perspectives of capitalism, because everything is a perspective. The whole world is a perspective. Everybody's perspective of the world is different. Some think it's good, bad, horrible, lovely, beautiful. It changes how I look at relationships. As a man, as a man, I grow up being taught that, this is the way men act. This is what men do with sex and all this other stuff. None of that is true. That's all a perspective. Once I realized that there are an unlimited amount of perspectives, that means there are very few people. Like, once I escaped the debt matrix perspective, because there are millions of people that belong inside, that share the debt matrix perspective, because that's what the majority of people are born in. Because If the majority of people knew you couldn't buy a house with a mortgage, the housing market wouldn't exist. So they have to believe that. I get it. I totally, and it's not a system that I hate or angry at, none of that. I chose not to use the number line in my life and finances. That was me. But there are very few people in the perspective in which I live today. It's I live in a perspective where, put it this way, God is a frequency. Okay. And I speak to him every day and he speaks to me. And I'm just saying he to so people can really kind of get it. God is just everything that we exist. God is everything. And people might ask, well, how do you speak to God? And I've been coming up with ways to help people understand how God speaks to me. So if you just, say God to yourself in your mind, don't say it out loud, just say it in your mind. Now, when you're done saying it in your mind, I want you to understand something. You didn't say anything. You didn't hear anything. Your ears didn't hear you say it, but yet you said God in your mind. That's how God communicates with me, just like that. Because I can ask you to say God in your mind, but you can't prove to me that you said it, but you do know you said it. It's not a language, it's not anything, but you do know you said it's like that. God speaks to me. He speaks to all of us, not just me, but it's more like if you know you're going to do something that you're not supposed to do, there's always a something in your mind that says you probably shouldn't do that. And then say like this, say like you're going to do something. It could be anything. I'm just saying something negative that you're not supposed to do to another person or whatever, right? There's always something in your mind, maybe a loud type of voice. I'm gonna use the word voice, but it's really not a voice that says you probably shouldn't do that. If you go do this thing that you know you're not supposed to do, and you hear something in your mind telling you not to do it, but you go do it anyway, obviously the thing in your mind that's telling you not to do it wasn't you because you did it. If you're driving a car and it's a fast car, you're like, man, I'm gonna see if this thing goes 100 and something miles an hour. There's always something in your mind says you probably shouldn't do that. You might get a ticket, you might hurt somebody, whatever, right? But you do it anyway. If you do it anyway, obviously the voice in your mind is not you if you did it. It's like that. That's how God speaks to us all. But now that I've reached a particular, it's not levels, it's different perspective. It's all about perspectives. The more perspectives that I become part of, I'm trying to my best way to describe it, the less people are here. So when I go out and about in the world and I hear people talk, especially like on social media, talk about money and what they're doing, it's all part of the debt matrix perspective. And the first part to becoming awakened is to free. I had to free myself physically. Some people never escape, but now that I have and know that there's an unlimited amount of perspectives, I wouldn't call it lonely because you I had to adjust. Now, when God was first revealing perspectives of me because ego never stops. Ego is quick to jump on the bandwagon and try to take charge of it and say, okay, I'm better than these people that are not awake, and I'm smarter than them or whatever. It has nothing to do with that. Nothing. God didn't say any of that. That's why He has blessed me with these perspectives slowly, because at first it was kind of like that. I thought I was going to take it, flip it, turn it into a business, make millions of dollars. Well, God didn't say, He didn't tell me it was for any of that. I don't know what this gift is for that He has blessed me with. I don't even know. It is it's scary at first because it feels like a superpower, but something I can prove with mathematics. It's not a, and math is fact. Nobody can have an opinion on math. And math is the joining piece between the physical and the spiritual. Like the example I showed you earlier, that money is an illusion for the majority. And if you put $20 minus your car payment and look at the calculator says you do not have $20 in your hand. And this is the part that you can either cross over, or you can stay in the debt matrix and never free yourself and free yourself physically and become freer than you ever have in your life, because there's nothing like it to be awakened and to walk around. Like, for example, I know I'm all over the place, but I'm trying to my best to put it in words because I've never done it before the way I'm telling it. The best way I can describe it is like the Matrix movie. Everybody's in the background, hustling, bustling, grinding, never sleeping, and all this other stuff that they're telling you. Millions of people do not know that's only in a perspective of capitalism only. And you'll never free yourself if you believe that. If you believe you're saving money and putting money say, like, put it this way, say like you wanted to put $1,000 this year into your 401k. Okay. But if you open up the calculator and put in 1,000 minus your car loan balance, the calculator says you don't have $1,000 to put in your 401k. Which one do you believe? The calculator that's never wrong? Or you believe what you've been trained to know inside the debt matrix perspective, where anything you believe, I guess you can just believe whatever you want to believe. Right now, today, in 2026, I really don't know which perspective I'm in, because I will never know, because they're unlimited. There are no amount of perspective. There are no limits on perspectives. There's totally unlimited, because every single person's perspective is different in this whole world. When you see like a big yacht, like the owner of Facebook, or some multi-billionaire cruising through with a $200 million yacht, I don't look at it like, oh my God, those guys are special. They must be, they, you know, they live. Well, how I look at that is that they live, and obviously they're showing me that they live in a different perspective than I. That's it. They know something about, in which I already know, that they just live in a different perspective. And within the perspective in which they live, they know how to work the system, or do not cheat or whatever. I can't claim for everybody if they're cheating or not, but it's very obviously it's different. If they can spend $200 million on a boat, which they're not on 24 hours a day, and you have a job and you're deep in debt making car payments, you see the gap between the two? They're not special, they're not different. They just live in a different perspective of capitalism than you and I, for now. Right now, today, I am trying to, which I need to stop because only God knows. I'm trying to figure out why did, what's the purpose of God awakening me to the with this knowledge? I thought it was to, it's obviously, okay, put it this way, not thought. It's obviously to help other humans because we're not here to work to the bone and die. That's definitely not true. It can't be. It's not true. I have to think back about what caused me to get on the same frequency as God to even get out of debt. And this is all you have to do too. All you have to do is ask God, because that's exactly what I did. I said, God, what am I not seeing? Can you show me? All you have to do is ask him. And one thing I've learned along my journey with asking God for assistance, when I ask God to help me, I don't get to dictate how he helps me. When asking God for assistance and help, it's going to be uncomfortable because what he did was start shifting, removing people that were going to, I swear to God, first thing he started doing was removing people from my life that wasn't truly supposed to be there to assist me or doing bad things that I didn't know. God knows everything. So removing people, shifting things, changing things, because most humans do not like change. It's going to be very uncomfortable. It's not going to be a smooth change. It's not going to be, it wasn't the way I wanted it to happen. He was making changes happen, but I wanted to keep certain people in my life. Nope. They all have to be removed, at least the people that are not truly there to help you. Family or friends. He removed friends and he removed family from my life to be where I'm at today. It was scary. I did a lot of crying. I did a lot of, even till this day, it's still, I know when something, for me, this is my own experience, when there's something in my life that's really causing me fear, right? And to be scared of something, that means there's a shift coming in my life. The bigger the fear, the scarier the fear, the bigger the reward on the other side of that fear. Because fear is not here to cause fear is not here to cause fear. Fear is here to when it comes, it's here to show me something, point me in the right direction, make a move this way. I can either listen to it or try to ignore it. It's not going to go away if I ignore it. I just face it sometimes, but I have to be aware. That's the hard part about fear. I have to remain aware of its purpose. When fear comes in, I do not make major decisions based on fear. And that is the hard part. I could either, and I'm everybody, and it's going to happen on your journey. Sometime you're going to succumb to it and then come out on the other side and be like, damn, I shouldn't have did that. because sometimes fear will disguise itself as positivity. No, as clarity. Sometimes fear will disguise itself as clarity. This is the right move. This is what you should be doing. When you need to take when you need to take a step back and say, am I doing this out of fear or clarity? Anytime now, anytime I catch myself, and it's very difficult, don't get me wrong, sometimes it's hard, especially if you're crying and you're just distraught. Anytime fear overcomes me, I'm like, I'm gonna stop everything. I'm not gonna make no moves. I'm not gonna make no calls. I'm not gonna talk to anybody about it. I'm not gonna say something to somebody about this, and just stop. See it for what it is, and then let it calm down, and then make a move. I'm so anxious to help people, but I realize I'm not here to help anybody. I'm here to help those that are ready to be helped, ready to listen, just like I was. Nobody talked me into getting out of debt. I just realized something was wrong, something wasn't right, and I just asked God because there was no other way I could know. Nobody knows. Not nobody, but I say 99.9% of the population in the United States do not know that they live in a perspective of capitalism. If you're making car payments, you don't know. If you believe you're a homeowner with a mortgage, you don't know. If you believe you're saving money while having a mortgage, you don't know. Money is an illusion for you. I love it. I'm blessed every day that I'm awakening. The word awakened means I've completely awakened, which is 100% impossible because it's unlimited. I am happy to be awake. At my age, I'm excited to see what God is gonna do with me, with blessing me with this gift, because 100% it's a gift. It's an energy that comes off of me that people can see and feel, but they don't know why. It's like walking. I walk around now, every place I go, people are always staring at me, talking to me. At first, when I was awakening, I used to always wonder that, why does everybody want to talk to me? I'll be sitting off in a corner by myself, not saying nothing to anybody. And there was always somebody coming up, sitting next to me. Hey, what's up? How you doing? I'm like, I'm not even talking to anybody. It's my energy. Now I know why, though. I completely know why. I am here for the people that were wondering, just like I was. Something's wrong. Something's different. What's going on? There's something I'm not seeing. It is. It's true. And with the gift that God has blessed me with, I can show a person with mathematics. I can show it to them because that's the link. When it comes to money and finance, math is God. It's never wrong ever. Now I just kind of, I guess, live in the present moment. Not I guess, I do. That because the present moment is the only moment that exists. Wondering what's next. Because where I'm at today, none of this was a plan. None of it. I couldn't have planned it because my mind didn't know it existed. My physical mind did not know that I lived. I was a physical slave. Like, I can clearly see that the United States of America is basically a slave factory. And it's in our faces every single day. Every day, it's in our faces every day. Everybody in the world knows capitalism works the best here in the United States of America. Everybody knows that. But what they don't know is that we're slaves here. People will look in history books and see the physical slaves. Oh, it's not like that anymore. Yeah, physically, it's not like that anymore. But psychological slavery is more profitable than physical slavery. There's nothing like having slaves that don't know they're slaves, and the slaves live comfortable in their own houses with heat and food and all this stuff, not realizing they're paying for it all. It's not none of it. None of it's free. None of it. They're making monthly payments on this life that they think they live for. They think they're living for. I don't know what it is. Now that I'm out, every month we pay a fee to live in a place. We pay our monthly fee. All right, cool. We got 30 more days to live with a roof over our head. How long does that go on? Forever? For some, not for all, for some. I'm more like in a space that, like, I'm just floating, not knowing what's going to happen. Not that I ever did know. My mind thinks we're in control of it, but it's not. Never has been. The mind, the physical brain is for us to function, get up, work, drive, talk to people, go buy some food. That's the physical brain's purpose. It's the brain does not function outside of the present moment because it cannot function outside of the present moment. It don't know anything past the present moment. It only knows about the present moment and the past. And the past is still the present moment because we're thinking about the past presently. I'm gonna keep making these videos, not only for you guys, but for more of myself to keep track of my progress of awakening. Hopefully, it will help some people, but it's more for me because it's very difficult to put something in words that people cannot see. Very difficult. Like sometimes I'll go down to this particular park, and there's a bench that faces the road, and this road is pretty busy. And I watch the cars driving by, the frustrated people honking, and people everybody's trying to get somewhere. Everybody. And I sit back and thank God every day I'm not part of that anymore, which I used to be in my early 20s and 30s. And I remember when I was in my 30s starting my career, and I remember sitting in traffic, I used to say to myself, is this going to be my life all the way to age 65? I didn't know it was a choice. It didn't have to be like that. And I was right. It's not like that. Deep down inside, I can feel that I want to help other people feel what I feel today, this freedom, and become awakened, awaken themselves. But I'm telling you now, once you cross over, there's no going back. You can't go back to sleep. It's going to be scary at first because it changes everything you've been taught. Um, there's going to be a lots of ups and downs and changes, people being removed, relationships ending, but it's making room for new relationships, new beginnings, new starts, and you're going to meet a lot of wonderful people. But there's not many awakened people, so you have to find them, and they mostly can only be found by energy.